what an exciting wild card weekend and exciting college football playoff semifinals. And, we're going into the divisional round and we're going into the national championship soon as prospects looking to keep on moving up and down the board from Indiana and Miami at least just before, the draft cycle really kicks into gear. We're also seeing players take themselves out of the draft cycle. Dante Moore has just confirmed he is staying at Oregon for the 2026 season. And a lot of people think it's because he doesn't want to be a Jet. I don't blame him. But that shakes some stuff up, to say the least, here in this draft. That Jets number 2 pick has been almost a lock-in for Dante Moore for me and for lots of people. So seeing what they'll do now is something that, is something in the air that would be interesting to see. What is the plan for the Jets at number 2? I've seen people like Bengal had a trade with the Cardinals for the Cardinals to get Dante Moore and the Jets to get Kyler Murray. That ain't happening anymore. But we're going to hop right into this one with pick number 1. We're just going to get it going. If you are not subscribed to the channel and you keep coming back, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so I'd really appreciate it. Let's hop into it. Pick number 1 here for the Raiders. All right, this is an easy one for me again. Fernando Mendoza. He looked excellent against Oregon in the Peach Bowl. I mean, that was fun to watch him put the ball exactly where it needed to be every single play. Every single play. And with that, I think the Raiders kind of basically said, yep, this is our guy. Obviously, Dante Moore staying in college, so your guy is Fernando Mendoza. That is your quarterback of the future in Vegas. Now at number 2, I don't really have much to say about that one. Everybody knows it's going to happen. Mendoza, let me say, that guy is a great quarterback. I'm sick and tired of the agenda that he can't be a successful QB or he's a system QB. You watch them, not the Raiders, the Hoosiers, and he puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. He knows how to adjust when he has a little bit of pressure in the backfield. Like he can do. He's such a smart guy, and that's what you want out of a quarterback, is a smart guy who knows where to put the ball, knows what to do in those situations that you need to use your brain. I love it, and I think he's going to be a great player for the Raiders. The only thing the Raiders need to do is get him some weapons and get him some O-line in free agency, and then get him maybe even try to pair him up with his teammate Elijah Surratt in the second round. Bring both of them, make it a package deal. But he's going to be great for the Raiders if they give him the right circumstances. But number 2 here to the Jets. Now, this is where we got to do a little bit of talking. No Dante Moore on the board. No other quarterback worth taking at pick number 2. I mean, you look at the quarterbacks here. Ty Simpson, Trinidad Chambliss, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, Carson Beck. None of those guys worth taking at number 2 overall. Another thing I do want to say with Dante Moore going out of this draft, do you see Chambliss, who we talked about in the last one, who I thought maybe, could move into the first round. Chambliss, could he jump up draft boards because there is no Dante Moore? Now, I think it's stupid that players will jump up because another player isn't in the draft anymore, because that really doesn't dictate how good a player is. That just dictates how desperate a team is. But it's happened before. A lot of teams have definitely reached for a player because a player that isn't there anymore, this is the next guy up, something like that. So Chambliss had a great playoff. He's not a second overall pick kind of guy. He is a second rounder, early third rounder right now. There is still, I still do fully believe there's a way he goes into the first round. And, he goes and ends up having great things happen for him. But this pick really is really confusing me. I could see the Jets trading back from pick 2 now because you don't need that quarterback spot anymore, and really it's kind of hard to choose a guy to go second overall that fits their need. I think halfbacks in the play for the Jets, because who knows if Breece Hall is going to be a Jet after this season. But Jeremiah Love's not worth taking second overall. The only guy really here worth taking second overall for the Jets is going to be Arvell Reese, as even though Arvell Reese listed as a linebacker, plays off ball, can play on the edge. I believe Arvell Reese will be more of a pass rush guy at the professional level. You know, he's playing in the box, in the D-line a little bit at the same, more D-line than box. But you look at guys like Jalen Walker, Jalen Walker, Micah Parsons, those are two guys, Abdul Carter even. These are guys that have played in the box and played on the line, and they're all on the defensive line now. So, but I think this could also be like an Abdul Carter situation where the Giants have a very good 1-2 punch as with Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, and they still go get the best player available. So for right now, we're going to go with that. We're going to go Arvell Reese here to the Jets. He's the best defensive player in this class. He's exactly what the Jets would love to have on their defense. Obviously, interior is a little bit more beneficial. Maybe if Peter Woods was still the highly touted prospect that he was, this would be an okay spot for him. I would expect, honestly, the Jets to trade back. But if they don't, I'm going to go Arvell Reese at number 2 to New York. Now, number 3 to the Cardinals. The Cardinals don't have Arvell Reese anymore. You could go with Ruben Bain, David Bailey. Get that guy on the other side, like I said last time, guy on the other side for Josh Sweat. But there isn't crazy tackle prospects in this draft. There's 2 pretty good ones in Spencer Fano and Francis Mauigoa. And I think when you need a tackle as badly as the Cardinals do, you kind of have to jump the gun. So we're going to go Spencer Fano there for the Cardinals. Now, Kyler Murray might be traded. He might not be a Cardinal next year. The quarterback position could be an uncertainty. Regardless of who's back there, they need some help. And Spencer Fano will do exactly that for Arizona. Just giving that extra protection. Paris Johnson Jr. is a great tackle. He's the only good part of that offensive line. So getting him another good tackle to be alongside of him would be beneficial. That'll be the number 3 overall pick. Spencer Fano, tackle out of Utah. Now, pick number 4 to the Titans. I had been going Ruben Bain a lot, Arvell Reese a lot, and then last mock draft, I went Carnell Tate. We're going to stick with wide receiver, with weapon. This guy, Cam Ward, showed flashes of being a great quarterback. And he did that with the weapons and offensive line that he has now. Like, unbelievably impressive season for Cam Ward, given the situation. You give him a wide receiver, I'm going to go with Carnell Tate because I think he's the safest of the 3. You know, Mekhi Lemon, size, Jordan Tyson, injury. Carnell Tate really doesn't have either of those. He's, 6'2"? 6'3". You know, maybe a little bit smaller at 6'3", but he's 6'3", 195. But he's still a weapon for this team to really be able to use. So I like Carnell Tate to the Titans. You know, it's kind of funny looking at him. He's a wide receiver 2, basically all of college, behind Marvin Harrison Jr., Jeremiah Smith, and he's going to be a top 5 NFL pick. That just shows how good those guys were. I mean, how much wide receivers are needed. But this guy can be a great player. Who cares that he was a wide receiver 2 in college most of the time? It was really wide receiver 1A, 1B with him. So Carnell Tate will be the 4th overall pick to the Tennessee Titans. Cam Ward getting his very much needed wide receiver 1. Now for the Giants at 5, I really like Caleb Downs to the Giants. However, my concern is with the safety position, teams don't value it enough, and teams aren't willing to go draft high on a safety. But you see, like guys like Kyle Hamilton were like a mid-first rounder. Caleb Downs is the best safety prospect we've seen. And this guy is an impact player in the box. He's an impact player in the slot. He's an impact player down 12, 15 yards down the field. Now, Do I expect a team to use Caleb Downs as a one high? Heck no. If a team got Caleb Downs and used him as a high safety, they are asking for failure. That is just stupid, waste of your talent and a waste of your absolutely versatile weapon. Versatile weapon in Caleb Downs needs to be playing everywhere. However, still think 5 is too high for the Giants to pick Caleb Downs. And I've also, another random point, I've seen people say they're going to go Reuben Bain or David Bailey. That's just ridiculous. Pick number 5, though, we're going to go with Jordan Tyson. I think they need another wide receiver to be alongside of Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, a free agent this year. Don't know if he'll probably stay a Giant, to be honest. I don't expect the Giants to probably be able to contend to keep him. So Jordan Tyson would be a good little replacement, a better replacement than Wan'Dale Robinson. I think Wan'Dale's a great player. I don't think he is no Jordan Tyson, but this is a good slot to be able to pick a new guy like Jordan Tyson. So the injury history is a little bit of a concern. I'm not too worried about it. Jordan Tyson to the Giants. Now at pick number 6, the Cleveland Browns. They're almost kind of in that same spot as the Cardinals. The quarterback position is uncertainty. You do have Mekhi Lemon available at 6. I don't see Mekhi Lemon being in the top 10. Maybe could fall to the Saints at 8 if they're really that desperate for a wide receiver. Mekhi Lemon's a great prospect, don't get me wrong, but as I said, there's such little talent in the tackle class, a guy like Francis Mauigoa being available and a team like the Rams coming up or the Chiefs even, who could really use a tackle and possibly jump up the board for it. I think a team like the Browns, who could really use him at either tackle or guard, would be makes sense, a realistic pick. And so Mauigoa from Miami, Florida, will be a Cleveland Brown. He's been great in the playoffs, though. Let me say, he's just an absolute beast. He is physical. He is ruthless. I mean, I love watching him play, man. He's a fun player. So I love watching him block. We might make a video on him, but I think he's too high of a prospect to really fully talk about. We like to talk about some of the, middle pack prospects or some underappreciated guys, which he's a little bit of an underappreciated guy, so we might have to talk about him, but he'll go 6th to the Browns. Now 7 to the Commanders. I'm going to do it again. Caleb Downs to the Commanders. This is a perfect guy for a Dan Quinn defense. Dan Quinn would love him. He is, as we talked about, the most versatile weapon. He is the number 1 prospect in this entire draft. By far, in my opinion. Mendoza is fantastic. Arvell Reese is fantastic. Jeremiah Love's fantastic. If I was a GM in the 7 to 12 spot, I am licking my chops because I'm getting Caleb Downs. And I don't care what my team needs, I'm getting Caleb Downs. Like the Saints. The Saints don't really need a safety. If he's there at 8, I'm drafting Caleb Downs. Same with the Chiefs. The Chiefs really don't need a safety. He's there, I'm getting Caleb Downs. Obviously, the Bengals need a safety, so if the Bengals had them at 10, they are so happy. I wanted them to get Malachi Starks last year, but, they decided to draft the worst first-round pick in Shamar Stewart, which I was high on, so I can't really even act like I knew he was going to be bad. I thought he was going to be a pretty good player. But Caleb Downs is an absolute stud. He's an absolute athlete. He's going to be a defensive impact player off of day 1 and an instant defensive rookie of the year favorite, I would say. Maybe him or Arvell Reese, but he should be excellent for a team like Washington who desperately needs some secondary help. Now, pick number 8 to the Saints. We're going to stick with Jeremiah Love again. I think we did that last time, correct? Yeah. Jeremiah Love is an absolute stud of a running back. He's going to be a home run hitter. He's going to make those small plays into bigger plays, those big plays into bigger plays, those medium plays into bigger plays. He makes everything a big play, it seems like, at Notre Dame. And the Saints, with an aging Alvin Kamara, they do have 2 good young running backs in Kendre Miller and Devin Neal, But are those two guys really going to be the superstar that Jeremiah Love could be? I don't think so. And I think giving Kellen Moore a guy like Jeremiah Love would be awesome to give Tyler Shuck a weapon in the backfield with him. Not just another weapon, but a weapon in the backfield with him. I enjoyed how Devon Vele played for the Saints in the couple games that he was available. So I think the Saints can be fine with him as in the wide receiver room. The wide receiver 3, however, is definitely up for grabs. Jalen Polk obviously played in college, I'm pretty sure, at Texas Tech with Tyler Shuck, which is funny to say. I believe that is true, though. They played together, so they know each other. They got chemistry. So that could be the wide receiver 3. Is that a great wide receiver room? No. But Jeremiah Love really helps solidify the future of the Saints running backs after Kamara's gone, which Kamara, I don't know how long he's got. Number 9 now to the Chiefs. We're going to go edge rusher. They are absolutely ecstatic because they're getting Ruben Bain Jr. at 9th overall. Ruben Bain Jr. is a guy that could go up as high as number 2, in my opinion. He's an absolute monster. I feel like I see him in the backfield every time, every play. Well, I'd love to see how he does against a really good Indiana offensive line. But against a really good Indiana O-line, Ruben Bain could make or break his draft. Get to Mendoza a couple times. We'll see. But putting him with Karlaftis, Chris Jones, this team is so happy. I mean, obviously, if Jeremiah Love's at 9, that's what they're taking. They would love to have Jeremiah Love available at 9. But Bain and Love, the 8 and 9, interchangeable, in my opinion. The Saints, if they decide defense is the route to go, Ruben Bain Jr. is a Saint, and Jeremiah Love's a Chief. If they believe offense is the way to go, Jeremiah Love's a Saint, and Ruben Bain's a Chief. And in this case, we're going to go Love as a Saint, and Bain as a Chief. To round up the top 10, the Cincinnati Bengals. We've been going David Bailey, I think, last time. We're going to go back to what we originally had done in Peter Woods. The defensive interior there in Cincinnati is atrocious, and I'm starting to think, even though Shamar Stewart hasn't been great at all, you do have a future uncertainty with Trey Hendrickson on the edge. Your defensive interior, regardless of everything going on, is just absolutely terrible. And so Peter Woods is a good pickup there for the Bengals to bolster that D-line. Now at pick 11 to the Dolphins. We went Mansour Delane last time, I do believe. And my thing with the Dolphins is there could be some uncertainty at wide receiver too. Tyreek Hill likely to move on from the Dolphins, in my opinion. Tua will probably be gone from the Dolphins. So then that leaves you with Jalen Waddle, Malik Washington. And so with that, I'm going to go with Mekhi Lemon. I'm going to go Mekhi Lemon to the Dolphins, getting them a weapon there. Quinn Ewers wasn't the best, but he wasn't the worst in his starts with the Dolphins. I do think they're still going to try and find a way to get a different quarterback on the roster. But the Tua time is over. The era of Tua Tagovailoa, over. So I think you need to get another weapon because Tyreek's going to be gone or Tyreek's going to get traded. Mekhi Lemon does exactly that. You've got two good players in Lemon and Waddle. You got your speedster in Waddle, and then you're not as much of a speedster, but a good slot guy in Mekhi Lemon. So now number 12 to the Dallas Cowboys. We went Sonny Styles last time. I think it changes here because Mansour Delane is still available. So we're going to go Mansour Delane. If you didn't pick that up, I don't know what to tell you. But, David Bailey could go 12. I still really do think the Cowboys need to address corner with their first pick because there is going to be some edge rushers that will be available at pick number 20, like Cassius Howell, Romello Height. I think there still is guys, Cassius Howell, TJ Parker, R. Mason Thomas, Mateo, might be staying, but I think there's going to be the options for that. I also think there's going to be options at corner, of course, like Colton Hood, Brandon Cisse. There is going to be those options. However, I think Mansour Delane is a guy that they could use. He's an instinctual, smart player, and I've seen a lot. It feels like a lot of the Cowboys corners don't really play with their head, and they play off pure instinct. Mansour Delane, when he makes a mistake, he learns from it. He doesn't do it again. You don't see him do it again. David Bailey would be awesome for this team because he produces numbers. He produces sack totals. I pick Mansour Delane because I think he's a great player for Dallas. Now, David Bailey's probably the other option here, and I would probably lean David Bailey for what they would do. What I think they should do is Mansour Delane from LSU. Now for number 13, we're going to go another corner. It's going to be Jermod McCoy from Tennessee. Another great corner, another team that needs help in their defensive back room. That's been really the softest spot of this Rams team is that cornerback room. And Jermod McCoy helps that a lot. I mean, we've talked about him. Talked about his zone ability a lot. We've talked about how Emmanuel Forbes for the Rams has really kind of picked it back up, but he's still Emmanuel Forbes. The fact that that's the only corner I can really name on the Rams team proves they need a corner. Jermod McCoy is a great pick at pick 13. Now, pick 14 to the Baltimore Ravens. They are so happy that David Bailey is here. Like, that is an absolute freak and an absolute production monster. That's the thing with David Bailey is he is an athletic freak, but he also produces numbers. And, I mean, what is he at? Like 13 sacks, 13 and a half sacks this year? 15 sacks. Like, that's ridiculous, man. One of the best pass rush grades, pass rush win rates. He's also a good run defender. And so that's why he is being mocked top 10. In this, he kind of slides down to 14 here because of the need of Maui Gnoa and Spencer Fano for those two teams that need tackles. But, I mean, the Ravens, you need to figure something out. Defensively, your identity on the D-line has been awful for how many years? You know, you're going to have a new quarterback, or not a new quarterback, a new coach this year, sorry. You don't know what could happen with your entire roster, really. So I think David Bailey's a great start. For the Buccaneers at 15, they could go Sonny Styles. They could go Keldrick Falk. Those are the two guys that I really think. Avion Terrell, I still think it's a little early for him. We're going to go with Keldrick Falk here at pick 15. And, you know, Sonny Styles is a great off-ball linebacker, but as much as he is being ranked higher, it's hard to see pure off-ball linebackers go so high. I did just draft him to the Cowboys, but that's really not the point I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at that Keldrick Falk is a beast. You know, maybe the numbers don't prove it too much. Only 2 sacks this year. Not the best of his seasons, but he is huge. He's gigantic. He's powerful. He's got raw strength, and they need something on that D-line. You know, Kalijah Cansey in the interior really hasn't been who they wanted him to be. Vita Vea has obviously been good. Yaya Diaby has been serviceable, I'd say. Keldrick Falk at 15 for you. You get a absolute power-hungry monster, I guess. You could really not power-hungry, but powerful monster in Keldrick Falk to become off your edge. And he doesn't even really need to have to play the 9 tech all the time. You could put him face outside shade, barely outside shade of a tackle, and he'll be a great run defender for you. So now for pick 16 at the Jets. For the Jets, I think we went Mekhi Lemon here at 16 last time. Obviously, no Mekhi Lemon here, but they could honestly go Sonny Styles at pick 16. And with the way I looked at it, I think that's the best bet. You know, why not? Why not match Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles together? You know, they've been so good at Ohio State. The reason I'm doing this over a guy like Caleb Banks or Caden McDonald, an interior guy, the reason I'm going to do this is I think Reese, as I said, is going to be an edge rusher in the NFL. He's going to be kind of like an Abdul Carter situation. You have two good edge rushers on your team. You can still get better with a guy like Arvell Reese. You put Arvell Reese on the edge, that still leaves that gap of the linebacker position being a little scary and questionable. Boom, you put his teammate out of anybody, Sonny Styles. You put his teammate on the same team as him, that not only adds teammate chemistry, that bolsters up your defense that so desperately needs help. And Sonny Styles is a New York Jet. That'd be a really cool storyline too. Don't get me wrong. That'd be so cool to see, man. Now at pick 17 to the Lions. What a disappointing season from Detroit, really. Really did not expect them to be as poor as they were. 9-8 on the year, finishing last in their division after going 15-2 and being the number 1 seed in the NFC. What a fall. What a fall, I will say. For this team, they could really use a corner. I don't like, what's his name? Amik Robertson, right? Yes. Don't like him as your slot corner in those 4-2-5 packages. Terrion Arnold, I love to death as a guy because I love I loved him as a prospect. Just really isn't figuring it out. I like Ennis Rakestraw. He keeps getting hurt. I thought Rakestraw was going to be a first-round pick for a while, and the Lions got him and Terrion Arnold. This could really, honestly, be a lot of different things. It could have been O-line if there was O-line, but none of these guys should be going at 17. The closest should be Vega Ioane, and Vega Ioane is not, in my opinion, is not a top 17 pick. He is going to be he's probably going to be in those 20s, not 17. This team, no, so O-line isn't really the solution. I'm going to have to lean towards corner and go Avion Terrell, which Avion Terrell is a great player. And what this does is it kind of puts Minnesota in a crossroad. Like, what do we do here? What do we do here as the Vikings who could really use a guy like Avion Terrell, but none of the other guys are really going to go off the board until the end of the first round? Well, what you could do here is trade back. By the way, Avion Terrell, great player, great for his size, absolute dog. He plays up to his size. What we're going to do, however, for the Vikings is we're going to trade back. And there is one team on this list that really does need to upgrade a position, and that's wide receiver, and it's going to be the Buffalo Bills. Now, to trade up, we're not going to go fully into detail, but for a mid first round pick, it'll take a first rounder, and I don't think it'll take 2 first rounders. It could take 2 first rounders, but I don't expect it to. It'll take that 26th overall pick from the Bills and maybe some day 3s. But we're going to trade those, and Buffalo's going to trade up to 18 here, and what are they going to do? They're going to go take a wide receiver, and they're going to go take Denzel Boston. I like KC Concepcion for the Bills, and that's what I've been doing recently. But I think they're going to make a deep playoff run, and he's not going to be there. Neither of these guys. They're not going to have a guy. The closest, their best choice would probably end up being Elijah Sarah, Chris Bell, Jeremy Bernard. That's what it's going to end up being because they are going to win games. I would be shocked if they don't beat the Denver Broncos this weekend. But I'm going to have them trading up, getting themselves Denzel Boston. Their last big guy receiver in Keon Coleman didn't really work. Denzel Boston's got a little bit better production footwork. I just think he's got the better overall look for him. Put him with Khalil Shakir. He works. He works well for this team. And so we're going to go Denzel Boston. Buffalo trading up, 8 spots? So the Carolina Panthers at 19. Jalen Coker, let me just say, hats off to you, man. Hats off to you, Jalen Coker, because you looked amazing in that wild card game. You looked fantastic, dude, and good job. I've always liked Jalen Coker. Him and Tet are going to be a great 1-2 punch. We did Sadiq last time. Could be Sadiq again. Who knows? Not going to do it this time, though. We're going to go defense. Linebacker position is a need. CJ Allen's available. Don't think he's worth it. I'm going to go with my favorite defensive interior, Caden McDonald. The D-line for Carolina could use a little bit more edge help than defensive interior, in my opinion. I think a guy like Caden McDonald is excellent for any team that gets him. He's just going to be able to stuff the middle of the field. I mean, look at that run defense grade. 91.2, a 14% run stop rate. Absolutely excellent from a guy like him. He's looked great all year. Maybe not against that Miami game. We don't talk about that. And these ones, but we don't talk about that. No, I'm just kidding. He's looked great all year. I like him as a prospect, and his power and his ability to stuff the run could be great in Carolina. So, pick number 20 to the Dallas Cowboys. We're going to do what we've been doing. Cassius Howell, pick 20. They need the edge rusher. We went Mansour Delane with pick 12. Now we go Cassius Howell with pick 20. And he's a very pass rush heavy guy, an experimental kind of prospect, a developmental guy. I don't really care. I think he's got the tools to become a great pass rusher in the league. It's just, can you develop him into a better run defender? And Dallas could really use just more people in that revolving door of the edge rusher that they have. Now, pick 21 to the Steelers. Quarterback, wide receiver are the two things I'm looking at on here. So we're going to go with a wide receiver. We're going to go with KC Concepcion here. They desperately need to go get wide receiver. DK Metcalf just isn't really cutting it. Calvin Austin's not and should never be a wide receiver 2 in the NFL. KC Concepcion, great at A&M. He was great at NC State before that. Like, Rodgers probably retires this year, and maybe, a guy like Simpson or Trinidad gets a really good draft cycle, little combine, pro days, jumps into the first round. That's the Steelers pick. Now, that's not what I have, but it's a possibility. It sure is a possibility. But for now, we're going to go with wide receiver still, which we've been going Denzel Boston a lot. This time we'll go KC Concepcion. 22 here to the Chargers. They could use some defense help, but after watching that game, it's impossible for me to pass up on an offensive lineman. That was unbelievable. I felt so bad for Herbert every drop back, man. He was pressured on basically every drop back. And so Vega Ioane, a guard from Penn State, they just signed Mekhi Becton to be a good guard. He was good with Philly. Not good with the Chargers. Ioane is a good offensive lineman. He fits that interior need that the Chargers need. Do I need to say any more? He's aggressive. He plays well with his hands. He plays well with his feet. He's a great pick for the Chargers. And an absolute match made in heaven, I guess you could say. 23 here for the Eagles. Went Ioane last time. Not here. So what do you think? What do we do if we're the Philadelphia Eagles? I think, honestly, we could see them do something the Bears did last year. And it's funny because both these guys were both from the state of Idaho. And it's going to be Kenyon Sadiq. Dallas Goedert's getting older. Dallas Goedert's still reliable, but he's getting older. Kenyon Sadiq getting a weapon out there. Jalen Hurts loves his tight ends. If you notice, in the red zone, he throws it to Goddard a lot, it seems like. Kenyon Sadiq would be awesome for a guy like Jalen Hurts who loves to be able to throw it to his tight ends. Sadiq is a matchup nightmare for linebackers. Can run with safety, run faster, if not faster than safeties. He is such a receiving threat and a pretty decent blocker to the point where a team like the Eagles would be a fool to pass up on him. T.J. Parker may be a choice here. Colton Hood may be a choice here. But we're going to go with Kenyon Sadiq. Now at 24, the Jacksonville pick. The Cleveland Browns, they're very happy the Jacksonville Jaguars lost because that pick is a little bit better. I think it was, 28? 27? 28. I think it was 28. And so now it's 24. So that pick improved by 4 picks. Very well done. And that helps them really be able to jump teams like San Francisco and Houston, who I had picking tackles and then kind of leaving Cleveland just up in the air to who do we pick. Now, you already solved that tackle problem with the number 6 pick, right? With Maui Goa. Now you look at it and say, well, we could also, as funny as it sounds, we could go and get another guy another offensive lineman. But we could also go get another weapon. Last time we went Chris Bell. We could go Elijah Surratt. And this time, we're going to change it up. We went Chris Bell this last time. Let's go Elijah Surratt. I think he's looked great at Indiana. He's been fantastic. The number one weapon for Mendoza. Raiders fans a little bit sad maybe that Surratt isn't going to be here. This pick could be traded out, and then for them to be able to get some day twos and some future stuff. But for now, we're just going to stick with that. I kind of want to keep everybody in the first round right now. We're not going to do trading out of the first round kind of mock trades yet. But Elijah Surratt, to get yourself a wide receiver, get yourself a weapon. That wide receiver room is terrible. And I love watching Elijah Surratt. Him and Mendoza's connection for the back shoulder fade is awesome. He just knows where to put his hands. It would be awesome to see those two stay on the same team. Don't think it happens, though. Now at pick 25 to the Bears, we're going to do what I did last time. I think he just fits that Bears need more than Caleb Banks. Christian Miller to Chicago. What a win from the Bears. What a win from the Bears this weekend. And, the D-line could use it. It's really just the defense that needs the improvements. And so Christian Miller does exactly that. Just improves with making a force in the middle of the field to be able to stuff the area. I think he's had some ankle issues, however, which is a little worrisome, but he's a great prospect who's going to be able to stuff up the middle. And I think he's got more of a ready now when it comes to pass rushing than Caleb Banks, who is a really good pass rusher, but maybe not the best run stuffer. So we'll go with Christian Miller. Now at 26 here to the Vikings. Obviously, Vikings couldn't pick Avion Terrell, who we've done a lot. At 18, they trade back. We're going to go Colton Hood at pick 26. They need a guy who can just go out there and improve that corner room. The corner room needs youth. That whole DB room, it just needs youth. Isaiah Rodgers, it really isn't a CB2. Byron Murphy's been good, but it really helps that they have a guy like Brian Flores. A team like this is probably going to lose Brian Flores, and that's going to really show the true colors of this defensive back room. And they've really benefited off of how much Flores likes to rush and how much they pressure the QB, which leads to some bad throws. So what we might see what's a little different. They need to improve their defensive back room. And so we'll go with Colton Hood to the Vikings. Now at 27 to the Niners. Man, I really could switch it up finally here, honestly. Nick Bosa hurt again, and he's getting older and older and older and older, right? He's just getting older and older and older and older and older. And wait, let me say it again, older. He's just going up there. So do they go with a TJ Parker here, or do they really do focus on that long term? Because this could be Trent Williams' last year. And so with that, we're going to stick with it. Caden Proctor. I think that's just a perfect thing. Even if Trent Williams stays for a year, you learn from Caden Proctor, man. So I'm going to have to go with it. And he's a specimen. He's huge, 6'7", 366. Perfect. Send in the draft card now if he's there. Caden Proctor to the Niners. And you got to keep Purdy safe for the future, man. So having a guy like Proctor who can play both tackles is physical, big, maybe a little too handsy at times, but he's a good pick. 28 here for the Texans. We're going to go pretty easy selection, Caleb Lomu. As I've said, they've got a tackle playing left guard right now and a guard playing left tackle. I think Ursary is better off as a guard. You could move him into left guard, or you could even move Lomu into left guard. And then you could put the one of the two at the left tackle position. They just need some offensive line help. Caleb Lomu does exactly that. They could go Caleb Banks, maybe some long-term defensive interior, but that defense is insane. I don't think you need to really address the defense right now. You need to address the offensive line. Now at pick 29 to the Los Angeles Rams. They went with a corner, and so now we're going to go with a tackle. And the tackle we're going to go with is Monroe Freeling. Monroe Freeling has really jumped up boards. I think it's mainly because of his stature. 6'7", 315. We've seen guys like Marius Mims, who has really jumped up boards because of stature. And so I really do envision this pick end up being a quarterback at the end of the first round or a trade out if Ty Simpson or Chambliss can really, get things going during the draft cycle. But Monroe Freeling has jumped up this board because he's a specimen. He's exactly what a GM wants out of an offensive lineman, I'd say, size-wise, and that's really eye-opening. Sometimes there's positions where size over production is what they need. And it's not like I'm saying he's not the best, he doesn't produce, but he, has allowed 3 sacks, not very many hurries, only 6 hurries. So, played a lot of left tackle. They could use that tackle safety for the future. Have Monroe Freeling at the end of the first. You get a 5th-year option on him, and he's your project. There you go. Pick 32, the Patriots. We're going to go with T.J. Parker. That defense looked really good for them against the Chargers. Just bolster up that defensive line a little bit more. That's what you do while you get T.J. Parker. You could use offensive line a little bit. There really isn't any more in the first round, in my opinion. So we're going to go T.J. Parker, who's really fallen off board, still first rounder. Denver Broncos. What are the Denver Broncos going to do here? We're going to stick with it. C.J. Allen. C.J. Allen's ability to go sideline to sideline is very admirable, and he's a field general of a linebacker. So could really be the only position at 31 that the Broncos could really use an upgrade at. So C.J. Allen will go 31, and then to round it off, we'll go with Brandon Cisse again. As I said, he's just someone to bolster up already one of the best secondaries in the league. Just getting another good CB3 and then being able to use Eminwari a little bit more than just a slot corner position. And so that's why I enjoy the ability to trade, to draft Cisse so then you can use Eminwari to his fuller potential. Now, that is going to be it, folks, for this mock draft. No Dante Moore. I definitely had to switch up some things a little bit. We'll keep on switching it up as we get through. We got some exciting divisional round games this weekend, and then on Monday, we've got an exciting national championship game. I'll show you these picks. I'll scroll down a little bit, and I will show you these picks. So there's all the first-round picks that we've got. What do you think about your team's pick? Do you like the pick? Do you hate the pick? What do you think? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you keep coming back or this is your first one and you enjoyed the content. We're going to keep on ramping out videos, folks. We want to get this thing going, really. I do. I want to get this thing going. It's just a matter of time. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.